Good morning, Rabbi Oziel. Ilui Nishmas Bas Mordechai. Welcome back, Eli. It's great to be back. It's unbelievable. But I have to say, you didn't have to do this. The Shleisha Skene Hashir are here today. All of them. Rafishal showed up. Yishkar for coming just for me. Dr. Epstein is here. And how many months has it been? A half a year. And the very first off-site person ever, Chabura from Manchester, Rabbi Bernard David is in the house. It's a big schus for us to see him here. So Yishkoyach, wow. Who else do we have? We have Rabbi Shor Berman, who's virtually here. Maybe he's not here. Shalom. Taki. Who else? Who's your friend? Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem. Shai Mazan.
Hey. That's right. Shalom Aleichem. Wow. Welcome. Okay. I want to give you a nachas regarding our MDY Chabura in the Zone Girls Camp. In the picture is Ephraim Phil Sanzer from Muncie, who started with MDY by Shabbos pre-lockdown camp, a camel cap. He's the guy in the camel cap. David Yitz from Woodmere, who started by Yuma, Papa K, aka Irv Tafshiland from Cleveland, new recruit. Baruch Hashem, he opened his Gemara. Next time we'll teach him the right way to hold it. Not shown this year. Eli Natan Yisrael Shlomo Yacov Biton. That is one person from Morocco who started Erevin. Your Talmidim, the men of the girl zone in Camp Spirit. Hi, Rebelli. You always say if you miss a daf, just skip it. I saw a beautiful story on that which might be helpful. I actually mentioned the story, but this has a little bit of a different nusach, so we'll say it again for Chazara. The Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky, when he learned in Lomzhe, it's in Hebrew, so I'm just going to translate. There's a very chashuv, a bacher, who later on became the very famous chashuv Rav in Switzerland, Hagoy Reb Moshe Soloveitchik. We learned in Yeshiva, Reb Chaim and Moshe, they slept in the same room, and Reb Moshe had a kfiyos in Daf Yomi. So even when he would come back late, he would still do the daf. So one night, he read one line and he fell asleep, woke up, read another one, and that's how he went through and he finished the daf like that. So later on, Reb Chaim Kanievsky asked him, if you didn't understand a single word, what just happened here? You were sleeping basically, I saw you. So Moshe said, you're right, I didn't understand a single word. So if you didn't understand the word, why did you read it like that? He said, I didn't read the daf, today's daf. What I was reading is tomorrow's daf. In other words, if you do it today, then you're not going to miss tomorrow and the day after. You have to do it. Sometimes you don't understand 100%. You do it and you go weiter. Rabbi Yaakov Schoenberg, who's here, he wrote an email because he thought I wasn't going to be here. He said that the picture that I did with Edis and Ziburis, which I'm going to show today extensively, is not correct. Why? Because it shows that Yerushalayim and Shemesh, it's easy to misunderstand. One imagines that the property in Yerushalayim is worth much more than one in Bet Shemesh. But what we're trying to do is that we're giving the guy his damages in better property. In other words, it would be better to show a small dira in Yerushalayim versus a big mansion in Bet Shemesh. Okay, fine. While I'm complaining, there's another gripe. The new fancy multicolored letters are often very difficult to read clearly as the color gets lost in the background. I once heard that before. If anybody else has issues with that, and you're under the age of 50, when I learned about artistic lettering, the rule was always that legibility is paramount over beauty. Depends. It's not everybody holds like that. There's a lot of people I saw in America that beauty comes before. It's better to have a nicer car than a car that's what's the word I'm looking for? Functional. Rather drive one of these cars that, the ones that have the doors that open easy and you can get the kids in the back, those are for soccer moms. That's not chashuv enough. We need a car, you have to climb over the seat, but it looks cool from the outside. That's how it goes. Our share is also like that. Just trying to improve the presentations. Kind regards, Yaakov Schoenberg Yishkoyach. And now on to the sponsors. The Koilel is sponsored from Anonymous from Lakewood. who we came to this year in Chicago, and I got an email today that a lot of people are asking Rabbi Locke from B3 Bikes if he's Mr. Anonymous from Lakewood. He wanted them to know that he's not such an Anav, it's not him, it's somebody else from Lakewood.
He always puts his name on.
Right, but people choshed him that he maybe went anonymous. It's l'schus my mother-in-law Shlamas Esther Bas Bela, who's slowly but surely recovering from a stroke. The Koil sponsored Nishmas Ben Moshe, Nishmas Ben Moshe. The Masechta sponsored by Moshe Banda to thank Hashem that I'm able to thank Him for everything that I have. The Baruch Tzvi Hashem should open up all the tzinorot bracha for Baruch Tzvi Nissim ben Shoshana Lea by Rosner, Nishmas, a 17-year-old Yosef Simcha Chaim ben Shlomo Yehuda Zechron Levracha. Lock and Lebovic families, Lakewood, New Jersey, not anonymous, because torah and achdus are the best segula. Parnas Achoyis, the fourth one. Eli Nishmas Chaya bas Yosef, Parnas Shavua, Tzvi Corlin, in memory of Faiga Chaya bas Yacov Chaim, Aleh Shalom, who passed away Shabbos Parshas Korach. By Benchetrit. Is he here in the house? No. He left already? Commemoration of the week of the 11th yard of Rabbi Yosef Oziel, who was nifter at the young age of 42, who was very instrumental in getting him to do the daf. He did one cycle because of him. Now he's trying to do the second cycle in his memory. By Yonah Pollack. Is that the Yonah Pollack from here? I don't know. Lili Nishmas Shlomo ben Yehuda Aryeh Vega, who embodied Yafat Amud Torah im Derech Eretz. The official Mishnah in honor of Avi Kamiansky and crew for all they do for the kids program. Go young daffers, go. Yishkoyach official.
At least more guests slipped in while you were reading.
Yeah. Oh, Yona. Shalom Aleichem. How you doing? Who else? Who did you bring with you?
Penny Gold Black.
Penny?
Gold Black.
From back in Chaim Berlin, no?
Yeah.
Shalom, where you live in the same place as him? Everybody, that whole neighborhood, Givaldik, Muncie somewhere. What is it called? Pomona? Wesley Hills. Yeah, Wesley Hills. Shalom. In memory of the art site of Chava Bas Rabbi Yaakov Halevi, mother of Yossi and Shlomi Rosenberg. The Nishmas should have an aliyah and the art for complete refuah for Chaim Tzvi, Ben Leah, Shalom Aleichem to all the guests. Unbelievable. We have come out a minion of guests today. Even Dr. Epstein today is a guest. Even me, I'm also a guest. We're holding Daf Yomi Amud Aleph, Rabbi Oziel, in middle of Baba Kama. We're doing like 3-4 daf, 4-5 daf of Baba Kama. Then we're going to get to the very, very famous Agadita of the Churban Abayis, Lakewood, the 3 weeks. So we had a shaila like this. So there's 6 properties over here. Joking. There's the property of Idis. We have the mazik on the top and the nizik on the bottom. The mazik, he's a wealthier dude. He has an apartment in Yerushalayim, he has an apartment in Bet Shemesh, and he has an apartment in Kfar Sabra. The nizik, on the other hand, the guy on the bottom, his best, let's say, is equal to the mazik's worst. So he has an apartment in Kfar Sabra. He also has an apartment in Kfar Ahmad and Kfar Azza. You need, you have to go in with the army in order to negotiate a deal on a property over there. It's very difficult to sell in Kfar Azza. So Rabbi Shmuel is of the opinion. So let's go back. The Mishnah says that nizak in shamalem beidus. That you give the nizak when there's damages. You give him idus, the best of the best. Gemara asks, but that's a pasuk in the Torah. It's not tikkun ha'olam. The Mishnah says it's tikkun ha'olam, trying to save the world, do better for the world. Why is it tikkun ha'olam? It says in the Torah you should give him idus. So the Gemara says it goes according to Rabbi Shmuel. That midoraisa, it should be the bottom. You should get the best of the nizik. But Rabbanan came along and they made a takana. They don't want people to be careless when it comes to damages. Be careful how you drive your car, how you, by mistake, elbow your friend. You got to be careful. So they went up and they said, you have to give the best of your stuff. With the mazik. But midiraisa is bid the nizik. Okay. So that's where we're holding 4 lines from the top. My time of the Rabbi Shmuel. Where did Rabbi Shmuel get his reason? Where does he see that it's b'denizik? Midaraisa is b'denizik shamina. Oh, here, b'denizik. Here you can see it's jumping, it's doing stuff. B'demazik shamina. Okay, you like that? It's better now. Okay. My time with Rabbi Shmuel. Nemra soda lamato v'nemra soda lamala. In the same pasuk, it says, Ki yaver ish soda yicherem, a person lets his animal go and destroys his friend's field. V'shilach es be'iroi uvir b'zdei acher. It's very clear what this means. Uvir b'zdei acher. Whose field was damaged? The Nizik's field. That is no question. Hold on, Gershon. Meitav, so what do you do? Meitav sodeyu, meitav karma yishalim. This is unclear. He pays from his best field. Whose best field? Is it the Nizik or the Mazik? Whose best field? Is it Kfar Sabra or Yerushalayim? It doesn't say. Meitav sodeyu. Who's sodeh? Again, the beginning of the pasuk will be bizdei acher. His animal went and damaged somebody else's field. We know who that somebody else's field is. It's the nizik. It's the one that was damaged. But the payment we don't know. Says Rabbi Shmuel. Just like the field in that same pasuk, the nizuk, it's obvious that we're talking about the nizuk. The nizuk. So too, when you have to pay, you're paying from the best of the damaged party's fields. Kfar sabra. So what's machlokes? Rabbi Kiva savar meitav sodehu yishalim dehechti kom yishalim. Rabbi Kiva says no, it's the person who's paying. Meitav sodehu. So we're talking about, this is Rabbi Shmuel and this is Rabbi Kiva. The one that's paying, Meitav sodehu yishalim. He's paying from his best field. Rabbi Shmuel, no, he's right. Rabbi Kiva has a good taina. It seems like from the pasuk Meitav sodehu says, yeah, he is right, and we are going to learn something from this. Well, there's a Gzeir Shava and there's a pasuk. The Gzeir Shava teaches us what we just said, that we go with the nizak. Hani kra. This like the mazik idis viziburis. Here. So this case, the mazik has property in Yerushalayim, but he also has two other properties in Kfar Azza and Kfar Ahmad. Okay? So he has idis, but he has really, really bad stuff as well. So the shaila is this like lemazik idis viziburis the day lo shavya ki idis denizik. In this case, the mazik's ziburis is not as good as the nizik's idis. So in that case, the mashalim and meitav, now he has to go. I would think, okay, he doesn't have to go higher up. In this case, since he has nothing equal, in this case, he has to pay from his idis. That's what you need the pasuk for. Rabbi Kiva omer leba kosav elo ligvois nenizakim ino idis v'kava chomer lehegdish. Let's remember this thing right over here. That is a kava chomer. First, the first words. Leba kosav elo ligvois nenizakim ino idis. Rabbi Kiva is arguing with Rabbi Shmuel and says, no, the pasuk Meitav sodehu comes to say that we take from the best of the mazik, not the best of the nizik. So he argues on one thing. And then he says, based on that, v'kava chomer lehegdish. We have a kava chomer to hegdish. Now the Gemara is going to explain what the kava chomer to hegdish is. But let's remember this statement. He's talking about Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Shmuel says that the Torah says you should collect from the best of the nizik. And Rabbi Kiva argues and says, no, the pasuk is not coming to say that. Not only that, once we know that you go from the mazik, we have a kava chomer to hegdish. Ma kava chomer hegdish. What is the kava chomer? Ilui the nakhi torah did only torah to hegdish. Let's see. Here you go. If our ox, the the regular ox, hits the Rosh Hashiva ox, the ox of Hegdish, and that's what Rabbi Akiva is saying, that certainly you should pay from the Idis. Share'eo Amar Rachmana. He's potter. Only when you damage your friend's ox, not when you damage Hegdish. V'lo yishor shel Hegdish. So you don't have to pay at all. So what could be the case? What is Rabbi Akiva talking about? That Hegdish is certainly you have to pay for Midas. You must say that the case is that a person promised on a dava, he's going to give Bedek Abayis some money. Da'asi gizber v'shakal midas. Says Rabbi Akiva, if you're going to pay your friend from the best of the best, so you're going to have to pay Hegdish the best of the best. Kavachoymer. As the Gemara, well, this is no better than a regular chayv. You owe somebody money. What do you pay him? You owe Hegdish money, so you give him beininus. Why? Where did you come to Idis? The word b'chayv. The guy comes to a wedding and he doesn't know the other side, so he goes over to. He thought he recognized the mechutin. He says, "Are you the Bal Simcha?" He said, "No, the Bal Simcha is the chassan. I'm the b'chayv." But maybe Rabbi Akiva actually holds that a Balchayv, he has to pay Idis. Where, huh? But where would he get such a thing? That's the mamash here. It's what do you call it? It's Dialog Minadin. Like the max we have in Chayv is Beininus.
You have Benazikin or Kinazikin?
Kinazikin. Maybe Rabbi Akiva will entertain that thing. We know for a fact Rabbi Akiva Rashi says Rabbi Akiva, it seems Rashi, Rabbi Akiva doesn't hold that. But let's say Rabbi Akiva will hold that. Even if he holds that Bachayv pays Idis, and therefore we can make a Kavachomer that Hegdish certainly should pay. Because you're learning Mineu Bey, you're learning typically, a person who gets damaged by his friend, he gets paid. Nizakin itself, if you damage Hegdish, you don't pay. So Hegdish has a weakness. So it ruins the Kavachomer. Says the Gemara, so let's go back to the first part. We're talking about our ox damaged Hegdish. Rabbi Akiva suffered like Rabbi Shimon ben Menasya, but he found Rabbi Akiva is going to hold like Rabbi Shimon ben Menasya. The Sanya, Rabbi Shimon ben Menasya holds the opposite of what we said before. Shor shel Hegdish shenogach the shor shel Hedyot potter. It's the opposite. When Hegdish damages somebody else's ox, the Hegdish is potter. V'shel Hedyot shenogach the shor Hegdish. But when you, a regular person, you damage Hegdish, not only are you chayev, bein tamu bein mud mishalim nezik shalim. What's going on here? I got to use these buttons. Buttons are not working. Okay, next. Shor shel Hedyot. Here we go. The shor shel Hedyot damaged shor shel Hegdish. Reb Shimon ben Menasya says in this case, even if. What did you say? Oh, this one. This one?
In that first picture, this is good. When where you have Hegdish attacking.
Reb Shimon ben Menasya shor shel Hegdish and other shor shel Hedyot. You're right, Potter. V'shel Hedyot shenogach shor shel Hegdish. Here. Shel Hedyot shenogach.
Next picture. That's good also.
Hold on a second. Oh, the label doesn't match. You know why? Because I did it. Okay, fine. We'll have to fix that. Yeah, I did that one. Because we didn't have it. I don't know. He left me hanging, Yoshi. So I did this myself. No, he did the drawing, but he put it in one. He didn't put it in here. So I did it and I messed up. Okay, fine. Shor shel Hegdish. I'm not going to fix it now. Easy fix. You go like this. Shar Shel Hegdish, the guy with the frock, damaged the regular guy, the bull. I guess it looks a little bit like bull. Fine. Should I say the Maaser now? Because I didn't think about the Maaser. I'll say the Maaser because Yeshua Berman didn't hear this Maaser. I used to go to a lot of Bulls games. I had tickets. It's Avoini and Imasker Hayoim. It's Katay and Imasker Hayoim. And Benny the Bull, the mascot, he had a minhag that he had this snow stuff, a spray, and at the intermission, as people came in, he would spray them. So for some sugar reason, I decided that I'm gonna be a smart aleck, and I went and I bought 2 bottles, 2 cans, and I walked in and I had my hands in my pocket, and he sprayed me. So I took out the 2 bottles and I sprayed him back. And I went back to my seat. Lamaisa made it to the news. It was on TV, and they said, and I'm a guy wearing a yarmulke, so it says, fan retaliates. I was like, Maaser Shaya. We looked for the video. 2 people in Chicago had it. Simcha Edelman and Elchanan Feinstein. I said it already. And they couldn't find it. Okay. Didn't happen. It's better like that. I'm saying I just noticed that it looks a shtickle like him. Fine. I guess that was the intent. So so first of all, let's see this thing over here. According to Reb Shimon ben Menasya, I didn't even notice this here. When the hegdish, that's why I reversed that. I didn't chap. Okay, I reversed. I thought he made a mistake. I didn't see that there's an animation here. Okay, still in America. I took the chayiv and put by the potter because I thought he messed up. So I said, okay, he doesn't know. I was saying that hegdish is potter, always potter, and the regular guy is always chayiv, but it's the opposite. When the shar, okay, because I didn't realize it's an animation here. Okay, let's get out of here quickly before there's more bushes. So anyway, since everybody knows this yisoid, but it's the first time they were mentioning it now, so we're going to talk about a tam and a muad. Tam is an ox that gored less than 3 times. His owner only pays 50%. A muad, after 3 times, you pay the full amount. So says Reb Shimon ben Menasya that when you gore hegdish, it doesn't matter if you're a tam. Even if you're a tam, and typically you get a dispensation, you only have to pay 50%. In this case, since you're the person you're damaging, the ox you're damaging is hegdish, you have to pay full price. So he's the exact opposite of what we were saying before. And Rabbi Akiva holds like Rabbi Shimon ben Menasya. Bein tam bein muad misham nezik sham. Okay. So Nachamo. Rabbi Akiva holds that when it comes to hegdish, there's a Yacov Chaim. That if you're going to pay idus to a regular civilian, so certainly you're going to pay idus when it comes to you damaging the shar of hegdish. And we have Amanda Omar Shimon ben Menasya that says, damaging hegdish you're actually chay. Says Gemara, ihachi. No, chay. V'shal hegdish shenogach l'shor shel hegdish bein tam bein muad misham nezik shalom. Ihachi. If that's the case, then we have a Rabbi Akiva who holds that by hegdish you're chayev. Ihachi might be this the nizik kizibur is the mazik pligi. So let's go back here. So check this out. We have 2 machlokes in here. First machlokes we said is b'denizik shayminan or b'demazik shayminan. Does the mazik have to pay from his idis or he pays from the nizik's idis? Now we have another machlokes. We have Reb Shimon ben Menasya that a shar of a hedyot who damages the shar of a hegdish, does he have to pay or not? If you're telling me that there's a machlokes in this shar shel hedyot that attacks the shar shel hegdish, who told you that there's even a machlokes between Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Shmuel on the machlokes on the right in the benizik shayminan? Who told you? Dilma the kulama but the benizik shayminan. Maybe in the case on the right, everybody's going to agree to Rabbi Shmuel that the benizik shayminan. The argument is something else. The argument is on the one on the left. The Rabbi Akiva is like Rabbi Shimon ben Menasya that when a civilian ox gores the ox of hegdish, he pays. nezik shalom, regardless tamud, Rabbi Shmuel savar l'karabani, doesn't pay at all. That's the machlokes. So Gemara brings 3 rayas that they argue also in b'nezik shaymina. First of all, Imkain, my laba kosov. Right? I told you in the beginning to where it says Rabbi Kiva, like 10 lines down from the top. Kiva omer laba kosov alalikbas nizaken. He argues on Rabbi Shmuel. The pasuk is not coming to say what you're saying, that b'nezik shaminan. It's coming to say something else, b'demazik shaminan. He's not talking about a shor of hegdish. He's talking about b'nezik and mazik. So you see that they're arguing b'nezik and mazik. The argument on the right. That's number 1. V'oid. If Rabbi Kiva agrees that b'denizik shaminon, b'denizik is a kula, not a chumrah. When I tell you that the mazik has to pay from his iddus, that's a chumrah. Sometimes he has to pay from the best of the best, much more than the damage. It's a chumrah. So if you're telling me that Rabbi Kiva is saying a kula, not a chumrah, so how do you make a kavachomer out of a kula? If it's so weak, so certainly something else doesn't work. V'oid, Homer of Ashi, Daf Memtes Amud Beis. Now, Tanya Behedya. There was a guy who got up to explain how come he didn't make opinion of Ben. So first of all, his wife is a Bas Kohen. Second of all, he's a Levi. Third of all, it was a Caesarean, it's a Yaitze Doifen. And fourth of all, it was a girl. That's what this reminds me usually when it happens. Tanya Behedya, we had 2 reasons that the Olam was like, I don't get it 100%. The Kavachomer, the Kula, there's that. And then it says, Tanya Behedya is a Mefurisha Braisa that says word for word. We're saying, how do you know that Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Kiva are arguing in the Machlokes of B'denizik Shaminon? Well, there's a Braisa. Here it goes. Made of Sadeu, made of Kari Shal, made of Sadeu Shalnizuk, made of Kari Shalnizuk. Divrei Rabbi Shmuel is a Mefurish. Rabbi Shmuel says, that b'denizik sheminon. Rabbi Kiva Omer made the mazik, made the karmish on the mazik. B'denizik mazik sheminon. So that if you have any questions on the other 2 rayas, here's a mefurish one. Ravina Omar, in our Mishnah, we said that Nachmal. Let's do the from the beginning. The Mishnah says that when you have a nezek, somebody damages somebody else, you pay idus. Made of. As the Gemara and the Mishnah says, and we're continuing. We said the whole parak on Nizakin, Taisa says, is a continuation of the parak before, which is Tikkun Olam. It doesn't belong here; it belongs in Baba Kam and Baba whatever in the Nizakin. It's over here because Tikkun Olam. As the Gemara, it's not Tikkun Olam; it's a Mefurish pasuk. Ravina Amar, another pshat. Lo Olam Asisa Rabbi Kiva. I'm going to go like Rabbi Kiva. The what? B'demazik sheminon. And if it's b'demazik sheminon. Isn't that so? What happened? Midorai says b'demazik shaminon, and the Mishnah didn't add anything. What did the Mishnah add? The Torah says you should pay from the mazik sidus, and the Mishnah says you should pay from the mazik sidus. So why is that tikkun olam? How did it help the world? Lo Basisin Rebbe Kivi. The Omar Midorai said b'demazik shaminon. Reb Shimoni the Dorish time of the crow. So. This is very important. Rashi brings this pasuk. If you lend money to an almana, you shouldn't take her garment because then you would have to go to her house twice a day to return it and to pick it up, and people are going to start having rumors. So Reb Shimon's Dorish time of the Kra, that's the reason. The reason is rumors. Says Reb Shimon, so it's unbelievable. Reb Shimon, who explains the pasuk, explains mitzvahs in the Torah, not only does he explain them, but he takes his explanation and he comes out with new halachas from it. Not stam. I'm saying a Hasidic Torah in a pasuk. Either that's the pshat or not the pshat. I'm telling you pshat, and based on my pshat, I could derive a halacha from it. In this case, if you're not an almana, you're a wealthy woman, I could take your beged. So Mela by us also, says the Gemara, Reb Shimon is Dorish time of the Kra. We see in the rest of the Torah, he likes to explain pshat in different mitzvahs. Umatam Kamar. Our Mishnah, when our Mishnah says it's Tikkun Ha'olam, he's explaining why the Torah said you should take the best of the mazik. Is that fair? I damaged the property in Kfar Sabra, and I'm going to take his house in Yerushalayim. Why is that fair? The Mishnah is coming to explain the reason behind. I'm not adding anything. I didn't change the halacha. I'm explaining the halacha over here. Huh? Yeah. Exactly. I damaged something else. Correct. Matam, don't worry about the Matam and Nizak Shalom be this. But they think of them. Now that we're going to go through all the things in the Mishnah. Oh, sponsored by Mordechai Sapazing in my honor, and sponsored by the Tehillim group, MDY Tehillim. Tehillim.mdy.8mindaf. Why 8mindaf? Tehillim.8mindaf.com. Okay. Sanya, what? Yes, I do. One day, Bezer Hashem is coming back. Sanya Rabbi Shimon, I can't tell you for how long, but I'll come back. The Sanya Rabbi Shimon v'nei Ma'omran, he's talking Shalom Be'idis, v'nei Hagazlonim, v'nei Achamsonim. A guy who steals and a guy who's a chamson. A chamson is somebody who extorts somebody's property, but he pays for it. Now, Gzeila is a type of hezek. We're talking about in Nizak in here. It's not worth to steal. Why? Because they're going to take my best property. It's in the pasuk. It's part of damages. Gzeila is a damage. They're going to take my best property. Now, it's time I have a shaila. This bothered me. I don't know if it bothered anybody else as you're reading this. A chamson pays for his property. Now, so Ruvain goes to Shimon, puts a gun to his head, gives Shimon a bag full of cash, and takes his apartment, let's say. Now, Shimon wants his apartment back, so he has to take the bag of cash and give it to the chamson, and he gets his apartment back. So what happened exactly? Why is there a problem here? Why would he ever have to why would Bezin ever take another field from him? The way to get it back is to give back the chamson the money. He doesn't have what? Who doesn't have the money? No. The chamson gave the good guy money. The good guy has money now. Now, in order for the good guy to get his stuff back, the good guy's going to have to give the money back to the chamson. So in what case? It's too bad. That's his problem. That's his problem. Oh, says the official, the price changed. The chamson stole an apartment. It was only worth 100,000 shekel in Bet Shemesh 20 years ago. Now it's worth $1 million. So now we go after. Okay, fine. I don't want to confuse anybody, but that ishkoyach. Okay, fine. Next. Zok the Gemara. Let's keep on going with the Darsha time of the Krot. Explain what's going on. Why did the Torah say that you know what? I like this picture. Let's do this one. I thought it was Givaldic. It summed up the Mishnah in a visual. The Nizik gets paid the Idis from the best apartment, small apartment, Rabbi Shomer, small apartment in Shalayim. The Malva gets the mediocre stuff in Bet Shemesh, and a woman for her ksuba, she gets the worst of the worst. She gets the kfar. And you see on the top, Trump is the husband, the loiva, and the Maaser. Okay, what?
A much larger place.
A much larger place in Bet Shemesh, but it's you don't end up with more money. You just end up with more property. It's impossible to sell stuff sometimes in different places. Okay. I didn't want to go with New York, and first of all, New York is in the dumps right now. But whatever, go with Eretz Yisrael. Says the Gemara. So a person sees that his friend is struggling with parnasa, but he has a beautiful home in Bet Shemesh. Let me lend him money, and then I'm going to come and grab it. He won't have what to pay. I'm going to grab it. Now, it's very interesting. because you see the Gemara is forewarning a problem in today's society. What's the big problem? The problem is that people borrow money, borrow, minus, the minus, right? And so you're doing the minus. What's this minus business? You're paying these crazy interest. All you have to do is one time not go into the minus and then you're always on top, whatever. The thing is, the banks always, they push. I don't know if in 2005, they would like drive by us, we could give you more money. You want more? Because that's all they want to do. They want to take more and more interest. And people fall for it. The Gemara is talking about this. What's the problem is that you're going to offer him money. He doesn't need money right now. You're going to offer him. And he won't be able to pay you back. That's mamish. Today's society. We don't want you to do that. So you should know, you're not going to get idis, you're going to get beininus. So if so, let's punish him completely, this lender guy. Let's give him the worst of the worst. Then nobody's going to lend money. We don't want to stop lending money, but we don't encourage it. The Rabbi Yehuda, we have achloikis. Our Mishnah says ziburis, Rabbi Meir says beininus. Or Rabbi Shimon ben Malach, what's the reason? Say. So more than a man wants to get married, the woman wants to get married. So therefore what? So Tais explains in Daf Yomi Beis, in the Mishnah, he says, we're concerned that a woman is going to pick a fight with her husband, try to get divorced. He has a nice property in Manhattan and in Yerushalayim, whatever. She's going to want it. She's going to have her item. She's going to encourage a divorce. So you want to stop that. So you should know you're not going to get much. You're going to get the ziburis. And another reason, a woman gets divorced by karchach. Everybody says right away, in our days, you cannot divorce a wife against her will. How does this explain why she gets a ziburis? So what if it's against her will, not against her will? Doesn't explain. So the Gemara says, it doesn't explain. It's something else. The Gemara says a very interesting thing. Just like when a husband decides to divorce his wife, he has to give her a ksuba, so when she divorces him, so to speak, she forces a divorce on him. She forces him, she makes him a shug until divorce her. Maybe she should pay him a ksuba. Different halacha completely. Since it's not a woman can get divorced against her will, at the end of the day, he's the one that decides whether or not to give a get, and therefore he's the one that gives the ksuba. When does a woman get a ksuba, the worst of from ziburis, when she's collecting from the orphans, from the yisayim, if he divorces her, bebeininus. Why? Because he holds the ksuba's dairaisa, gets bebeininus. Says Gemara, miyasmei. What are you telling me that the Mishnah is talking about yisayim, and that's why she gets ziburis? We said that nan in the front yisayim element of ziburis. Anytime you collect from Yisayim, regardless of who it is and what it is, it's always from the worst. So why is the Mishnah telling us a case? If the woman is collecting from the Yisayim, she gets ziburis. Of course she gets ziburis. Elav minei must mean that's from the husband, not from the Yisayim. Loilam miyasmei uksibasisha tzrichalei. No. Comes from the Yisayim. So why does the Mishnah have to say that you collect ziburis? Because it's a chiddush. We want, according to Rashi, there always a machlekes Rashi and Taisus what china is. According to Rashi, we want women to marry men, so we think that they should get a better ksuba. Sorry, where am I? Taisus says always that china means that she should have money for zivuk sheni. Like if she remarries, she should have money, and therefore you should give her more in the ksuba. Okay, miman. Omerova toshma remeyo oimek ksuba zisha bebeininus miman ilay memiyasme. Who pays beininus? If you're talking about yisayim, they have to give beininus. Let's say remeyo this nan in the front of yisayim element ziburis. Why all of a sudden when it comes to the ksuba you should give more? Elolav mine. It's talking about the husband. So this is a kasha on Marzutra. Here you see the Rabbanan hold that if the husband himself, after divorce, he gives a ksuba, he gives from ziburis. How could you say that when the husband himself gives the karka, it's from beinanis? Rameir holds that because of china he has to give beinanis. Omar Abai Toshman izakin shomalem beidis ubachoy bebeinanis uksuba sisha beziburis. That's our Mishnah. Miman ilam miyasme mayir ksuba sisha. If the ziburis is coming from the Yisaimim, why do you have to say a ksuba? Everything, I feel kol hananami. Everything from the Yisaimim goes from ziburis, alav, minei. We're talking about the husband. Omer avacha bar Yaakov Chaim. No. So the Gemara comes up with a tremendous einfall over here. The Yisaimim is always ziburis. So we're talking about a very interesting case. We're talking about the husband died, yet I would think there's something else going on here. We're not collecting from the Yisaimim, but the husband died. And when it comes to ksuba, there's a big chiddush that this other person, individual, pays ziburis. And when it comes to other things, he pays beinanis or idis. What's the case? We're talking about an Arev, someone that accepted upon himself to be the guarantor. He's the father-in-law. He's guaranteeing his daughter-in-law's ksuba. He's guaranteeing his son's loan. So again, if the husband himself is giving the ksuba, he's divorcing the wife, he would give beinonis. And if it's the Yisaimim, it's always ziburis, and I don't need to say that in the Mishnah. So I'm talking about a different case. I'm talking about a guy that's an Arev. He accepted upon himself full achrayus. And he pays ziburis. He doesn't pay beinonis like the father. He pays ziburis like the Yosem. And this is a tremendous chiddush. In each case, each one of the three cases goes according to its own din. They collect when the baldover, the son, is still alive. So the father, when he pays up, he's going to pay like his son. Idis, beininis. But a ksuba, typically speaking, according to the sugya, most women who collect ksuba, their husbands died, didn't divorce them. And therefore, especially a father and a daughter-in-law, he's not anticipating his son getting divorced. So he says, I'm going to take upon myself if my son dies. So in Mela, we're talking about lachamisa. Lachamisa, memangavia. Typically speaking, who does the woman collect from? Miyasme, from the Yisaimim. The Arev shouldn't be any different than what typically happens. Typically, the Yisaimim pay from ziburis, so he's also going to pay from ziburis. As the Gemara, I think we lay the Arev the ksuba l'mishtabed, but at the end of the day, Arev shouldn't have to pay at all. When it comes to ksuba, one answer, one word, bekablon. Kablon, here, Arev kablon. Arev kablon is a new Yisaid. It's an Arev who accepts upon himself complete responsibility. He becomes like the borrower. He goes instead of the borrower. He's different than a regular Arev. So it's as if he borrowed directly from the Malva and he takes full achrayus. Now Rashi sticks in here something very interesting. Rashi says it's talking about that the wife received goods for her ksuba and she gave it to her father-in-law and her father-in-law gave it to the guy. Okay. Just in general, you should know that you could always say by a regular Arev that the guy lied. You could be more headed for him. The reason why the guy accepted on himself that he'll be a guarantor because he wanted this couple to get married. Or sometimes we say by a loiva also he wanted them to give a loan. Okay. Says Gemara, if he didn't have anything when he took the loan, great. And that the arvus works, great. Only if he has nechasim at the time of the halva, then the arvus works. Then it doesn't work. So very simply, he did have nechasim the loiva, and the father took upon himself full of chrayis, and it got ruined. I got to tell you, this line right over here, I'm happy I got to it. The entire flight, I'm thinking about this line. Why? I'm serious. A father always is mishabed himself. When we're talking about a father and a son, he took upon himself the shibud. You know where I'm going with this, right? Because everything in this world, real quickly before Shachris, everything in this world is basically a mashal. Yeah, a father and a son is a mashal like Baruch Hu and Klal Yisrael. And a father is always mishabed himself to his son. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is always mishabed himself to us. We should talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu like we talk to a father. No busha, daddy, give me another $100. Daddy, give me the car. Rabbi Oziel, have a wonderful day.